Driving fast, moving past the sunrise.
Welcome back to the LFS Report. My name is Ronald Grossman. Today I got the third round of Cityliga Season 23 for you. We took the 2006 BMW F1 car, the BF1, the fastest LFS has to offer, on Kyoto Grand Prix long. The race was 42 laps long, which matches also a FIA F1 race length. So let's jump right into it with Grid 2. In Grid 2, Mikiewicz got the pole in the race field qualifying, followed by Blacky and Senna, and the lights went green, and so the 22 Grid 2 drivers went for their wild ride. Onto the first chicane, very tricky with all the draft already building up towards it, and the thereby resulting errors. The first part of the field went through okay, but in the back of the field there was a huge crash which resulted in some drivers rejoining the race out of the pits. Mikiewicz with already a comforting gap, followed by Blacky and Luthard, who jumped Senna. And here they went through the S's, very difficult in the draft. After the tires started to cool down, we saw this really nice fight between Nismo, Nick and Luthard behind them. Nick went for the outside against Nismo for the Boothychicane, but locked up and nearly missed the turn-in. This gave Luthard the chance for an attack. Luthard tried the inside for the left-hander, and in front of them Nismo missed the braking point. So Nick and Luthard passed him going through the last chicane. There also was a dangerous contact as they enter start-finish, but Nick managed to stay on track. And with the help of the draft, Nick gets next to Luthard, and also Nismo lurked in the back, but wisely decided to stay out of this fight. Luthard managed to get back through on the inside, but for the next straight, Nick is in an excellent position to attack out of the draft, as he will do, and he passed Luthard, one of the best fights in both grids in this round. Mikiewicz had such a dominating performance, he had to fear no one, so he went for the easy tactic and split his race in thirds for refueling. He came for his first stop in lap 14, and a lot of other drivers used this tactic as well. Before the second pit stop wave, we saw an interesting fight within the BC team between Jens and Klaus Adam. Klaus Adam attacked on the inside for the Boothychicane, but braked too late, and so Jens was able to counter-attack and get his position back. Towards the end of the race, the concentration of some drivers seemed to drop. Here Nismo went too fast into the right-hander at the end of the second straight, and as he went through the gravel he nearly collided with Ice, who was still there trying to dig himself out. And after Nismo managed to get out of the gravel, he rejoined right in front of Blacky, who was in P2. And in the fast S's, Nismo lost control and crashed into Blacky. And Senna behind Blacky thereby took over P2. But Senna's luck didn't hold long. At the end of the same lap, his front left tire got a puncture, and he showed some great car control despite the puncture and kept it on the road. Quite good. And lucky for him, it happened at the end of the lap, so the way into the pits was quite short. But what happened in the pit entry I can't explain. Somehow he went into first, nearly spun, and then even ended up in reverse. Quite strange. Another case of concentration drop grants Esco another position close to the end. Out of the right-hander, Nick got off the track and had to let him pass. And similar thing happened to K. Badam, who threw away his position on the podium out of the first chicane against Lutat. And there was also a photo finish in Q2 between Jens and Nismo for P10. Nismo somehow managed to get the draft of Jens from what seems to be a too big distance for it, but still. Another last meters he boosted past Jens and got P10 with only 0.03 seconds of a gap. And another scene where I don't really know what happened and don't know what to say, so I leave you with the video. Mikiewicz will leave Grid 2 with another clear victory in front of Blacky, who was the only one not lapped. Then Lutat, and despite the blunder close to the end, K. Badam with a very good result. Then Senna, Esco, Nick, Dietmar and the Flying Joker. Nismo, as we saw, with the last second top 10 pass. In Grid 1, Winkler got the pole with his aggressive low fuel strategy with a 1 second gap to Binchi and Botzi, and as the lights went green, the 22 drivers of Grid 1 went into their 42 laps. The first chicane went better than in Grid 2, but there was still a bit of trouble in the back of the field. Winkler led the field towards the S's, followed by Kobinji, and behind them Fieseler already attacked Botzi into the right-hander. Botzi went off the track and lost quite some positions. Due to his low starting fuel, Winkler already pitted in lap 8, and at this point he had a 7 second gap to Kobinji. As in Grid 2, lap 14 was lap for the first pit stop of most drivers, but not all drivers. Mobile went for a long first stint as he started with max fuel, and as Kobinji left the pits after his first stop, he had passed Winkler and had a 6 second gap to him. Between the two pit stops, there was a great fight between Kovac and Simon. Simon with the attack out of the draft into turn 1, and he took over position 5. But only a couple of laps later, Kovac with the attack into the left-hander before the last chicane, claiming back his lost position. And since Simon had a bad exit out of the chicane, Kovac was safe on the start-finish straight. Kovac closed up to Fieseler and tagged him at the beginning of lap 27, but Fieseler used the draft of Kovac for his counter-attack on the outside of turn 1, which worked out, and the air loss thrown Kovac off, so Botzi, who also passed Simon, had an easy way with him on the second straight. Simon also went for the standard pit stop tactic, so he came in lap 28 for his final stop, but he missed the pit stall and thereby lost time and at least one position. When Kobinji left the pits after his final stop, he was still 6 seconds in front of Winkler, but in contrast to Winkler, he decided to get 4 new tires. In grid 1 we also saw a concentration drop by some drivers. After his final stop, Kovac underestimated the weight and hit the wall in super fast right-hander, and he had to do a repair stop and lost some positions. Later in a nice fight with Spencer, he managed to get at least one position back. Spencer defended on the inside, but Kovac with a nice switchback, getting the better line for the upcoming S's. Nice pass. In lap 38, Winkler closed up to Kobinji. Since Kobinji changed the tires, he had to go through another heat peak of the tires, while Winkler behind him had to struggle to keep his tires warm, so quite an interesting battle for the victory. But in the end, Kobinji stayed ahead and Winkler didn't pass him, since the air loss is too strong at a certain point, so Winkler got close but wasn't able to get close enough for an attack. And another case of concentration loss, this time with Sam, who lost it out of the Boothychicane in the last lap. And this gave Shippy a last opportunity for P9, as he now left the Boothychicane behind Sam. But he locks up his front tires in the left hamper and went wide. As we saw, again a very close finish between Kobinji and Winkler, with Kobinji ahead. Then Mowai gets third, with his great strategy of running a long first stint. Botzi on fourth, followed by Fieseler, me, Simon, Pete, Sam and Shippy. This win puts Kobinji in the lead in grid 1, 8 points ahead of Winkler. Mowai jumps on P3, followed by Pete and Botzi. Kovac drops down to 6, followed by Fieseler, Simon and Spencer. In grid 2 we see Blacky at the top, followed by Nismo, Joker, Klaus Adam, Daniel, Mikiewicz, Mikpa and Esko. Frank drops down to 9th due to his non-participation, followed by Lutard. Most of these drivers won't be in grid 2 for round 4. Nismo, Lutard, Blacky, Mikiewicz, Frank and Joker, as well as Mensa, Fest and Klaus Adam, will be promoted into grid 1, and out of grid 1, Antonio, Bonilla, Ella Carracer, Marty, Putty and Chris will be relegated into grid 2. In the team standings, Core Sim Racing is still in the lead, followed by TC Racing 1. Extreme Racing and Heroes of Racing change position. This was the LFS report of round 3. I hope you liked it and will tune in again in 2 weeks when we take a look at the next race, where we take the GDIs to Rockingham ISSC. Until then, bye!